Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I am Kayla, and today I am here with Sammi again.
Hello.
And today
it'll be a running theme.
It'll be a running theme for the rest of the year and probably after the end of the year. So,
yes. So this episode is a filler episode in terms of the canon of this podcast.
It really is, because we have a lot of things going on right now that we're preparing for October and November, and we're just like, we need something like really like low, well, not low ever, but things that don't take a lot of like preparing, like things that don't involve watching multiple seasons of a show. Really.
Unlike our last episode on the Penthouse 3 and our
like
next
all
episode
of October and November,
which is just all produce month and K-dramas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is more just we have opinions.
Some like to call them unpopular opinions.
But also people from the internet have unpopular opinions, and we're going to talk about our opinions on their unpopular opinions.
Yes, yes.
So much like we are reacting to K-pop unpopular opinions.
Yes, yes, you could say that. We have become a reaction podcast. Here we are.
We are a reaction podcast. Here we go.
This is probably the closest we're going to get to talking about K-pop for a while, so...
It will be. Yeah. So, this is our K-pop opinions for this year.
Until we get to best and worst ones of the year. So, yes. Here you go.
So, if you're an audio-only listener, we will be reading them, but just so you know, I have sourced all of them from Tumblr. I think it's just, K-pop, unpopular K-pop opinions.tumblr.com.
Yep.
And, a couple other, Radio 1 K-pop, a bunch of other just places that post unpopular K-pop opinions. So none of these
you can find
opinions we'll be reading out are ours.
No.
But we will be talking about our opinions on those opinions.
Yes, you can find K-pop unpopular opinions really wherever you go, even if you're not looking for them, so...
Oh, yeah. They appear everywhere.
Yep.
So, really, this is just us talking about the lovely opinions we get all the time.
Uh-huh.
And there's some funny ones sprinkled in here. So I have all of these in a folder. There's no rhyme or reason to the order. I just have them.
We're just gonna go at random for the fun.
Yep. So let me just pick a random one place to start. Let's go... I don't want to do a terribly controversial one to begin. Let's
start it off more lighthearted, I guess. If you have any of those.
I mean, there's one here that I find very... let's go with this one.
Okay.
Alright, so the first one I have here is about NCT.
Oh, yes. Oh, timely, actually, considering...
Very timely.
Sticker came out today.
It's not about Sticker, though.
Mm-hmm.
I am really disappointed that SM scrapped NCT Dream's concept. I thought it was cool and would allow newer members to shine since they're mostly in that age range and don't get put in more stable units right away. I rather the original members just formed another subunit entirely instead of SM ditching the idea. By the way, when I say concept, I mean the graduation system, not the cutesy style / image NCT Dream used to have. I have thoughts about this.
Interesting. So, I also think it's weird that SM introduced that entire concept and then decided, no, we're not gonna do that anymore.
I mean, it's not the first time they've done it.
No,
Super Junior
they've done it all the time.
I think SM is obsessed with having a group have a graduation system, and it never works out because their groups are
too popular.
That's the problem with graduation systems in general. No group has been able to have a successful graduation system except you can maybe argue after school.
The only groups that have done it that's very iffy. The only groups who have it are very unpopular groups where the graduation system is essentially them kicking out old members and bringing in younger, newer members.
Exactly. And it's not an official graduation system.
Yeah.
No group has announced we are debuting with a graduation system because that sort of forces you to never care.
Yeah.
So
they've got it figured out in terms of AKB has that and whatever has that figured out entirely.
With
AKB is an entirely different beast of its own.
I think that there is a reason that you have an AKB in Japan, China, and Thailand, and a bunch of other countries.
And not in Korea.
But not
there is not a single Korean branch of that.
That's exactly that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I think we can talk about this. So I do think it is weird SM stopped it.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, by this point, if they had kept that graduation system, NCT Dream would be Chunla, Jisung, Shotaro, and Sungchan. And that's
a weird group of
that's
people,
a weird group of people. Because I think that only works if NCT becomes the new AKB Korea.
Yeah.
Because they would need so many more people to do it.
Because essentially so the way that it would have to work is essentially all of the members of NCT Dream might as well just be like a separate subunit at this point, and then we bring in like 8 new people in their new NCT Dream, which is it's kind of dumb when you think about it from like a marketing or even practical standpoint.
The other thing is I'm very curious because I mean they've done nothing with Sungchan and Shotaro this whole time. They have Shotaro's
like a music show host, and that's all he's got going on right now, I think.
Yeah, they're really, and Sungchan at one point was a music show host of something. Yeah, I forget what he was.
But that's about all that they can do. But that's all they're
doing. Yeah, because they're not in a unit. And the thing with NCT is, I think either they need to start making more. I would honestly prefer it if NCT gained no more people.
There's a lot of people
because there's already so many people. It took me forever to learn all of them. I know all of them at this point, but I do think that when you start to become that AKB style, it is already to a point where you can be a fan of one unit of NCT and not care about the other ones. That's why you have such varying levels of popularity for certain members.
Oh yeah, like, the popularity varies drastically in the entirety of NCT.
You don't need, and you really don't need to be a fan of certain. If you only like 127, I would not be surprised if you did not know one singular thing about Chunla.
Because,
you don't need to.
Dan is the same way. He cares only about Wavy and, like, couldn't name you a single member of, like, NCT Dream except for, like, maybe Mark.
Probably Mark. Yeah, that's it. And I think that's the genuine thing with it, is that you don't need to care, and I feel like more members would just exacerbate that.
But the thing is,
I would honestly rather
now that SM is doing this concept, I have a fear that we're never getting a non-NCT boy group out of SM Entertainment, like ever again. Like this is just how it is now.
I mean, that's possible.
Because at this point, they have so many, because like we are gonna have like whatever military enlistments and everything soon, but we also have determined that more than, like, only 42% of NCT is Korean, so most of them will not have to enlist.
And the thing with that is that when NCT 127 go into the military, they will have all of Dream.
Yeah.
All of them.
Because they're so young that they'll be here, and then by the time NCT 127 comes back, then Dream will go, and then Wavy will just continue on forever.
And then Wavy will never, and then Wavy will never have stopped.
Wavy will just continue to go the whole time, yeah.
So personally, I like the sentiment of this unpopular opinion. I do think it is an unpopular opinion because I think people adore Dream.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on board with Dream staying as a fixed
personally, unit. I love Wavy. They're probably my favorite unit. Yeah. I think Dream is my second favorite unit, personally. Same. I think they're very good.
I like them better than 127 at this point now,
I do as well. Oh, yeah.
I think that it's like they tried the graduation content because they did try to graduate Mark, and then everyone was upset. Not work. And so they're like, we're going to bring Mark back.
And then they realized that they hit a snag because Renjun, Haechan, Jimin, and Jeno are all the same age. We're all going to
graduate at the same time.
4 of them are the same age. Why you cannot have a group that is the majority the same age.
Yeah, because that just it's not how that works. It
was a mistake.
It was a cute idea at first, but I think the farther
it's cute in theory, but I don't think it works.
Got into their career, the less practical of an idea that became, for sure.
Oh, truly.
Yeah.
All right, you want to move on to the next one?
Sure, let's see the next one.
The next one is Drippin is one of the worst names I've ever seen for a K-pop group.
So
bar
correct.
None.
That is so so bad.
Whoever okayed it should be fired immediately.
It's so bad.
Correct.
Oh, it's 100% correct. That's a terrible name for a group. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea in the slightest.
I have no idea who okayed it. I have no idea why we think it was good.
Why on earth that is a name that we needed to name a K-pop group. Like, absolutely.
And yet here we are.
No
that
reason.
is the name we got them. But I also think that is it the worst name, though?
I think T1419 is pretty bad. Like, that one is
T1419 is truly terrible.
What else? Because we were talking about how terrible a lot of the names of
Wizards?
Wizards of the
Wow.
World, pretty bad, yeah.
But the fact that we have 2 wows.
2 of them. I'm trying to think of what other groups, because we were talking about how terrible the K-pop names were in 2020.
We were.
Because there was a lot of just letters.
Elast. We had Bay 173.
Oh, Bay 173 is pretty bad. I forgot about that.
There's a lot of the newer groups.
Yeah.
I mean, Light Sum is not a great name.
Light Sum is not great.
I think that there's just, I mean, even something like a Purple Kiss. Purple Kiss is
Purple
weird.
Kiss is fine, I guess.
I mean, there's just a lot of names where I'm like, what are... Because the thing with older K-pop used to be that it was either an acronym for something, so you had a TVXQ, BAP, even BTS, all of them are acronyms.
Yeah.
Or you had just a English word, but maybe spelt differently. Like,
I'm totally fine with the English word, but spelt kind of different. Like, that is
in theory, that's what drippin' is.
No, but it's just a bad word. Like, that's just poor word choice.
Drippin' is almost like if you just called a K-pop group moist.
Yeah, it's like terrible word choice for that is really what it ends up. It's like you like picking, like a lot of groups are just saying an English word, but this was not the correct English word that we should be using at all.
No. It's a bad name. I think K-pop names have gotten worse. I think mainly just because there's so many K-pop groups and you cannot overlap.
I still remember when Golden Child came out as the name of them, and I'm just like, because it was rumored before that they were going to be named Vector, and I was like, why did we go Golden Child? Like, why on earth are we doing that?
Vector would be better.
It was so much better.
Vector. Why do we not have a K-pop group called Vector?
I don't know.
That's a great name.
It was such a good name, and I thought it made sense after Infinite
that
the next group was going to be Vector, and I was like, that sounds great. And then it came out Golden Child, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Hey, Island Season 2.
Get on it. Oh, and
Hype Labels.
And Hypen is a weird
Hypen's
name.
not a great name.
They got bad names.
And Hypen is not a terribly great name.
Yeah.
But now we also have the fact that we have TO1 now.
Yes.
Which is 2,
oh my god,
but
we
now
got a
it's
TO1, we have JO1.
Then we have JO1, which
Into1?
is J-pop. We have Into1.
Yeah.
And then we have, like...
There's another one.
Like, Into It.
Into It, yeah. There's
and then
too
you have
many.
In Fact.
There's way too many of those.
There's so and then there's, like, I
is
now.
the new one, yeah. And I'm just like,
I is... I think all of the produce names are kind of stupid.
We gotta have some creativity here, please. Just a little bit, maybe.
A little bit. I think
maybe
we
a
need
little
more.
bit of creativity.
I mean, I think I like the fact that we're past the point of everything needing to be an acronym. I don't need the words Teen Top to be an acronym. I don't need M Black to be an acronym. I don't need VIX to be an acronym that's not actually an acronym for any
VIX
of the letters
is not
in
an
VIX.
acronym for VIX at all.
It is, and yet it is not. I don't need I'm happy that we've sort of moved away from acronyms.
Yes. I will say that I don't think this is an unpopular opinion because I think many people think that they're one of the worst named K-pop groups right now.
They are terribly named.
I don't think that's unpopular. I think that is a very popular opinion. Because I like them,
right.
and I still think their name is garbage.
I mean, I like them less and less as the comebacks
That
come
is true. They have been getting worse at each comeback, so it's been not great.
Willem, do better, please.
Willem's gotta do better.
Alright, next one?
Yes.
This one's about something we know a lot about.
Interesting.
People have far too much faith in the K-pop industry. After one of the produce seasons, when everyone was suspicious of voting manipulation, I remember someone saying that there's no way they would do that because it would be lying to the public and they could go to jail for that. And here we are. They lied to the public and they're going to jail. Some people have far too much faith in this industry and what the people making the money are willing to do to make more. Those people do not care about your trainee's dream and never have, never will. I agree with this 100%.
Yes, that's 100% correct.
People have this tendency, and I think that more so than produce, I want to talk about company stands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the company stands are a lot.
Because there are people that think that a company is going to look out for their faves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sweetie.
And
companies do not care about your
at all.
faves.
The thing is they care more about their own company's image than they do anything else, and by extension, they have to care about the groups that they have and then the individual people, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's necessarily coming from a place that they need to protect, like, the actual trainees. Yeah. It's coming from a way more selfish point of view.
Again, as we've seen many times, an idol will get cut, before the company will lose a single penny from them.
Yeah.
They will just cut them off.
I think you can see a lot of how companies sort of dealing with their artists from like scandal, like got over scandal, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Post scandal.
Post scandal. What? There's a word that's like a word for this, but I don't know what it is.
It's escaping us. It's fine. But yeah, it's very interesting that. I mean, people do have a lot of faith in the industry where it's like, oh, that's illegal, they would never do it. And I think that's a lot of very naivety from, like, very young K-pop stans who still see... Because, again, the thing with K-pop is that it is a very abusive industry. And that, as a K-pop fan, is something you need to come to terms with on your own time. That these idols are very... Like, they're overworked. The thing they go through during their trainee period is not fun, and it's probably not healthy for children. It is not healthy for a child to go through that.
Damage control. That's what the word I was looking for.
There you go. But, like, yeah, no. K-pop training is truly terrible for the idols involved.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I think it's honestly not that different company to company how terrible the trainee system is. I think the only difference probably is the quality of, like, trainers they have for the trainees, but I think the general concept of like being a trainee is pretty much the same for like every major K-pop company. Yeah,
unless you're getting to like the super minutia of like the
truly terrible of like TS Entertainment. Like once we get over like that,
that is even abuse. That is even
That's
worse.
Like
I'm talking
abuse.
Like the companies with no name and no money to their name who can't even train you.
Yeah,
that's where you might be having a different.
Where you don't get any training really, and you're just.
But anything from like from your top tier, because I've always seen people say that, oh, JYP, like what of the big three would you train under? I'm like, I feel like it's not particularly different.
I think the only thing that is different is that the different skills you get, because there's definitely like SM is a very vocal heavy company. JYP is a more performance-heavy company. I'd say performance more so than dance. And then YG is heavily hip-hop, rap type company. Yeah. So they're like, I think that's the only thing that you can really go off.
You're not really going to get a different experience in terms of you will constantly have the evaluations. You're constantly going to have them watching your every move, and that's the truth.
Yeah, and I've watched enough survival programs, both like produce and like company-specific ones, to know that they all essentially have the same setup for how they're monitoring trainees. Like, they get the monthly evaluations, and they get told that they're terrible a lot of the time and have to do better. And, like, it's essentially, like, a constant cycle of that.
Yeah. And I do think that, like, again, there is this rose-colored glasses, especially when... Because I remember being very early into K-pop and being a very early K-pop fan, and, like, you do almost want to make... And you see this when you get those, like, hour-long exposed videos about the terrors of the K-pop industry. It's, like, as if that is new information.
Right.
That is widely available information that every K-pop fan gets, has to digest, and has to come to terms with.
I was aware of both Super Junior and EXO's, like, scandals of the Chinese members leaving the group due to unfair treatment before I was even really into either of those groups. Exactly. Like, I read the Wikipedia page and I, like, saw the scandal section and it was just there.
Or, like, the TVXQ articles, or, like, even, like, your Burning Sun situations. And these are all things that you are presented with. Or even just the fact that there are K-pop female idol diets that we know of. And that they talk about openly on variety shows that we know about that are extremely, like, unhealthy to have.
Because there's ones where it's literally, like, eating, like, 2 sweet potatoes and, like, a banana.
Oh, yeah.
And, like,
or do you know the one that's, like, you can eat... Or you know the one that you can eat anything, but it has to fit in this very small cup. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Right. And I feel like anyone who is even, like, the slightest bit invested into K-pop is aware of how K-pop works as a whole, and that's why I hate when people who know nothing about K-pop make all of these videos on, like, why K-pop is horrible, and they always mention the trainee system and how everything is so much like a factory, and I'm just like, number one, everyone's aware that there are problems in K-pop. There's a lot of problems in K-pop. There are problems in every music industry. They're just different. Yes. Like, you're not gonna sit here and, like, sit on, like, a holier-than-thou high horse because you are saying you're never gonna like K-pop because of how bad the trainee system is. Well, guess what? There's, like, multitudes of problems in every other music industry as well. Like,
if you hate the trainee system and you hate all of that nonsense, you would hate any sort of recording contract or any sort of actual, like, unless you're only listening to indie artists. Who are, like, recording from their garage.
Mm-hmm.
You, like, everything is just sort of a cycle of abuse because, again, anything that brings in money, anything that'll give you power, they do not care about these children.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. Like, there are I like to say this thing of, like, overall, you can have company people that care about people. But at the end of the day, most of these companies are run by a board.
Yeah.
And it is very easy for a board of people to become very desensitized and dehumanized.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, it is not this, you can say that JYP or Bang PD or anything like that has power, and they do. They are probably they have a lot of power. But at the end of the day, the true people that own JYP, SM, all of that are a board of directors.
Yeah.
There's a board of people, there's multiple people that have to make these decisions. Mm-hmm. And most of them are faceless people you've never heard of.
Yeah, and a lot of the, like, JYP is, like, the person I like him too much is because he's such a public figure.
He is.
And he is the head of JYP Entertainment. It's like a lot of people see him and see his vibe and think that that's how all of JYP is run, but there are so many other elements involved in that he is, and he's been in the entertainment industry for so long that he's very used to being a public figure and, like, being, like, a face and having, like, a different persona when you're doing broadcasts and everything, you don't really think about how many other just straight business executives are involved in everything involving, like, K-pop.
Yeah. Alright. So, I think overall I agree greatly with this person who's like, yes. Even after the produce scandal where it's like, oh, they would never do that, that's lying. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but people lie. Like,
people lie a lot.
Especially when they're being offered bribes from companies, so...
Or especially when there's an opportunity to make a ton... It's like, if I can make $100 with the group that the people want, or I can make $1,000 with the group that I think is better...
Right.
I'm gonna go with what I think is better.
Because I will say, I do think a lot of the decisions they made in the Purdue scandal and the people who got kicked out of the group were for the basis of making a more cohesive group at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think that they took the bribes from the companies that they could also bring them popularity. Yeah. It's all these bigger companies.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, next one?
Next one.
Something I really can't understand is when people make a newborn baby group their favorite, one with no pre-debut promotions or appearances, and treat them like gods right away. It just seems so silly. Look at aespa. Mm-hmm. They're talented and they had a nice debut song, but why are you already treating them as the best thing to ever happen to K-pop? You know they literally have one song, right? Love them all you want, but it's too soon for them to be anyone's absolute favorite over all others.
Yes.
I agree with this.
100%, because I know multiple people like this, and I think that's what makes me agree with it more.
Yes. Because honestly, I think that there is liking a group. You can like a group from debut. You can be invested in a group from debut. Mm-hmm. But I do think it has to, like, gradually come up, like, I like them more. And they, like, gradually become your bigger bias list. Right. This, I think, was written after they only had Black Mamba. Because this is an older one.
They still only, at this point in time, they have three songs. 3 songs.
And they just announced them.
And 2 of those 3 songs are, like, remakes.
Are essentially covers, yes. I think that, this happens a lot with a lot of newer groups. We saw this happen a lot with Luna. Luna had a whole year, so I don't want to talk about stuff, that.
Yeah.
Like, I think if they have pre-debut, like, I have technically Card had a year of pre-debut before they debuted, and people really liked it.
And a lot of groups these days, at least someone has been on a survival show. So if you're following individual people, like, you're gonna follow them from that.
Different.
So, like, for Purple Kiss and stuff, like, not everyone was on Produce, but some of them were.
Some of them were, and even then, I feel like unless
and they also had pre-debut stuff.
For example, Enhypen.
Yeah.
I can understand why people would already have Enhypen there, because you have had like 12 hours to invest your time
if you'd
into
followed
this
a group
boys.
through an entire survival show, like, you do have a right to have them as,
You
like,
do
a
have
favorite.
a right to have,
yeah.
like, Eyes One, I understand, IOI, all of them I completely get.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you have there's very few now.
There's very few groups
very few that have no
literally
history.
nothing. You know nothing about them.
And, like, there's always one or two members, but I even feel like if you only have, like, one member or two members,
yeah,
that's different, because this is an entirely new group dynamic. You may not like the direction that this group goes.
Right.
So, like, even,
I know,
like, there's...
that's kind of how Lightsome was, because a lot of people really like Chowon. She was one of the people, manipulated out of Ice One. But
manipulated out.
She, the concepts of Lightsome is very different than what anyone was expecting for that group to be. Mm-hmm. And I do like it. I think it's cute, but it is not what a lot of people were expecting. So I think they did probably lose some people because of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that overall, I think you just have to... I prefer it when you just let a group grow and, like... Because
I think
a debut group
yeah.
will never... If you look at a debut song, it is very rare that you look back 2 or 3 years later, and that is, 1, the concept, and 2, that is, like,
their best
where
song.
Their best song, and not just that, but the concept that they've truly stuck with.
Yeah.
It's very rare that that happens, and that's different than growing and evolving. It's that a debut song is, like, meant to be, like, hi, we're here, and now you can, like, it is, many times they're quite generic.
Right.
Because you're not really there, you're there to make a statement piece, not to learn about any of the members.
I think the closest group that I did this for was Lucy. But Lucy was on Superband, so when they debuted, they did have other music out, and they did have, like, content, but also...
And also, I think
they were at, like, they were not, like, immediately my favorite. They're still at, like, 6 for me now, and when I first, like, when I did my first boy group ranking, they were still in, like, the somewhere, like, the 15 to 10 range,
Not just that, but also they're not they're not even our we both love Lucy.
Yes.
I think all of us love Lucy, at least on the podcast, but none of us would say Lucy's our favorite band.
No, I have another favorite band.
We all have one band above them still.
Everyone
and, like, maybe eventually will Lucy overtake? Yes.
Right.
But that's like saying, like, for example, Stacey. I loved Stacey last year. It's like Stacey after they had So Bad. Mm-hmm. Stacey was an immediate, like, very high up there.
Yeah.
Stacey is still not within my, like, it takes time, and they're going up there in my bias list. Maybe one day they will be my favorite girl group. But not yet.
They're not
and
there.
I think that is just also, I think a lot of people get on the hype.
Yeah.
And that you have a lot of, I don't know about aespa, because I feel like
aespa's a lot of
is almost like a secret.
The thing with aespa's
still like a secret.
The thing with aespa's a lot of the SM people who are involved with that, and that's really mainly the people who are just, like, who saw them and saw their debut and were gonna convince themselves to like them no matter what.
They were gonna be your favorite no matter what.
Yeah.
But, like, even, like, it happened a lot with Weekly. It happens a lot with a lot of
Weekly. It happened, and I remember. Dan. Look at Dan.
Look at Dan. The thing with that is that constantly with that, I think you get a lot of hype. You get really into the hype, and, like, especially with, like, new debut groups, there's a lot of content very quickly.
Yeah.
Because, like, with older groups, you gotta wait for the next comeback. They're doing their own thing. You don't get, like, the constant variety show, the constant interview, the constant, like, material just being, like, constantly coming.
Right.
So I guess that might also just be a factor.
And I was remembering when SM debuted, the people were literally just scouring the internet for literally anything about them because there was, like, nothing. And so all you had to go off of liking them and their personalities was, like, snippets from, like, radio interviews. And I'm like, you're trying to pick someone to bias. You literally have one song and you know absolutely nothing about them in the slightest.
True.
And it's just like it seems so forced at this point. I'm like, you're essentially picking it based off of nothing right now. Mm-hmm. And to, like, keep going down this path, it seems like, what's the point here?
A lot of people did this with ITZY.
Yeah.
And now I can see ITZY being someone's favorite group. A few songs
ITZY
later.
At least also...
ITZY now has a personality.
A lot of the members of ITZY had pre-debut stuff,
too.
They had
pre-debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, more so now, there's, like, a foundation for it. I just think that, like, you get very on that track, and I'm always of the mindset of, like, they just became your favorite in a week when someone else debuts, are they gonna be your new favorite?
Right.
And I'm not saying that for everybody. Some people will just love a group from debut, especially if you're a newer K-pop fan.
Yeah.
You'll love a group from debut and they'll be your favorite forever.
Right. I do think
but sometimes not.
It's hard, especially with aespa in particular, because they released a digital single. And there wasn't
True.
even anything else there. Like, if you have a mini album or something, at least you have some other type of music there to go off of, like, what they're going to sound like in the future, maybe. But when you have literally one song and it's a digital single, it's like, you kind of know, but you have no idea if this is the same direction or anything that they're going to do in the future. So, it's harder.
True. So on that note, you want a funny one?
Sure. Let's go funny.
Imagine if someone paid you to sing and dance for a dictator. Would you? No, right? Well, the girls from Red Velvet did. I will never forget.
They did do that.
I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. These are just facts.
It is a fact. It happened. That's the thing that happened.
Red Velvet did dance for Kim.
There's a picture of, like, one of the members right next to Kim Jong-un.
I think it was Irene or Solgi was very unpleased. They looked not happy, and I
don't think they wanted to be there. I really don't think they did.
I wouldn't. I would not want to be there.
They
did not seem happy to be there. I think SM was like, "You're doing."
I think
this.
a lot of things had to be pulled where they're just like, "Listen, can you please just do this one thing for us?"
Please. I don't even remember what they sang.
I don't remember either, but it was...
But they sang something.
I remember it happening, and I'm like, oh, okay, but why? Why are we doing that?
Like, why are we doing this? I don't know.
Especially, like, with North Korea hating K-pop as much as they do. Like, it's also just funny.
But also not hating K-pop as much as they do.
Well, the government of North Korea,
The government officially hates everything.
Yes, but the people, not
the government officially hates literally everything.
Yes. But that happened.
All right.
That
did happen, everybody. Just a reminder, Red Velvet did sing for the dictator of North Korea. It's fine. It's fine. All right, this next one is fun. People are always going on about how they prefer BTS's older releases. But I actually think everything they made from Most Beautiful Moment in Life onwards is way better. I guess it boils down to taste, but their newer stuff sounds more refined compared to the teenage angst of their School Trilogy and Danger.
So here's the thing, that this is misinterpreted by a lot of people, is I think what the problem is there.
I think a lot of people have this thing about early BTS. And my thing is, I don't ever
They're
know
not talking
what they
about
are
they're not actually talking about early BTS ever when they say that.
Because here's the thing. Most people say that it's like, oh, most people started saying that around DNA, Fake Love, that whole era of BTS. And I'm like, okay, pre that, what are you talking about when you say early BTS? Because I have yet to hear anyone tell me that No More Dream.
Yeah, We Are Bulletproof Part 2. That's the peak BTS right there.
Are their best songs. Because that is what early BTS is.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely think we have reached the point where you can have early... Because most people, I think, are talking about...
They're talking about Most Beautiful Moment in Life.
Danger... Or even, like, an I Need You. A lot of people say, I Need You was peak. I'm like, I Need You was not early BTS.
No, I think a lot of people really enjoy, like, mid-career BTS. And that's what they mean when they say early BTS. I like that this is what we're calling
mid-career. Because I think that there's, like, 3 distinct eras. Because a lot of people, they'll say, oh, I love, like, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life, that era. And I'm like, okay.
I think Most Beautiful Moment in Life and Wings, kind of as a package, people really enjoyed that. And then the people who hate Western music, like, dropped off after that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love all BTS. But I genuinely think that when you say early BTS, what you might be referring to is No, We Are Bulletproof Part 2.
Yeah, and No More Dream.
No More Dream and Danger. Not even Danger.
Danger is kind of in the mid. Danger and like
Boy in Love, I think is early BTS.
I think that's like the older
War of Hormone is early
Boy
BTS.
in Love and War of Hormone are like maybe where I understand early BTS. Like people saying that that's their favorite, but like
Danger is between the two. So like that is where I could understand it. But I think that
like who is out here thinking like No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2
because I've heard people say that and their favorite BTS song is Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and I'm like, that's not really BTS.
That's like the end of mid-career BTS.
I don't even know if you can. I feel like the goalposts are going to keep changing because I think that there's a sweet spot for a lot of people who like BTS. Yeah. There's a very sweet spot.
There is.
Of like, I need you.
It's I need you through like Spring Day.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Or it's like Spring Day, Not Today.
I think Spring Day, Not Today is a cutoff for the sweet spot of people who like only that section of BTS.
Because that section of BTS career is probably what I think most people refer to as early BTS.
Yeah.
Or even like...
A lot of people think that's the peak BTS
Boy in
era
Love.
Too.
I would understand up to Boy in Love.
Yeah.
Because I do not think that people are out here saying no more Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2.
No.
And no
That's not BTS. It.
Those are good songs. I enjoy them. I am not shitting on those songs because those are good songs.
Right. But I don't think anyone's out here arguing for peak BTS as those songs.
The earliest I can think of is people arguing for Boy in Love.
Boy in Love, I think that's where I draw the line. Boy in Love, yeah.
But most people I don't find are arguing that.
That's their best song. Like, I don't think that is.
I don't think most people are arguing that. I find a lot of people arguing like I Need You or something like that.
Like, I get that. But
wherein I don't
BTS.
think that's early BTS.
No.
But I do think that now that we're just arguing about, BTS eras.
Yep.
We're in the weeds.
We're in the weeds of this topic, but
I think we're kind of in the weeds.
The point here is when people say early BTS, they don't mean early BTS.
No, they might mean mid-tier.
Yes,
mid-career.
Yeah.
All right, this next one's also fun.
Okay,
this next one's also controversial.
Ooh.
Let's be real. We need to stop fooling ourselves when idols say they left the company but not the group, and will try to have future comebacks. It's just another way of softening the blow, giving false hope to fans, and not saying they disbanded. But they've basically disbanded. Has any group who's had members leave the company but not the group actually had a comeback? I don't think so. There's only one exception I can think of.
There's two.
And for me, I can think of
2 p.m. and it's VIX. Have both done it. That's it. And that's only because only one member is not in the company. Mm-hmm. It's not multiple members.
Because Taekyung is no longer under JYP Entertainment.
And Ravi isn't under Jellyfish. And they did one comeback when Ravi left Jellyfish, and now VIX is in limbo. Pieces.
Because
so they can't.
Here's the thing with VIX. VIX is no longer going to do that because...
no, because N's not in it anymore.
Hanbin
left, and N also left Jellyfish, and so I think now they're just so scattered that VIX is now
the only one I trust now is 2 p.m. because
I also trust Taekyung as a person.
I trust Taekyung I would trust Taekyung with my life as a person.
Yeah.
Like, that man, we love that man. Mm-hmm. He's a good man.
He is.
We trust him. But yeah, no, I think that overall, because
you are not as a full or almost full group moving to another company as a whole
together,
there's like little to no chance comebacks are ever happening.
But even then, the only time that has really worked is that Block B just sort of switched companies altogether, and they continued on as nothing happened.
Beast became Highlight,
and then Beast became
because they started their own company.
Exactly. And, like, they're still together.
And that's the only way that you're doing that.
Kind of, because then you still have, like, Shinhwa still together, and I think they've moved companies.
Yeah,
Epic High still together, and they've moved companies.
Yeah, like, Shinhwa had to literally buy the copyright for their name back from SM Entertainment, so they could use it again.
Sexkeys, I think, no.
Yeah, they were under DSP, now they're in YG.
Yeah,
But they also had, like, a large hiatus in the middle of their career.
True.
So.
Like, a lot of these groups will move around a bit, but they move as a unit.
And if you're not moving as a unit, it's not going to happen.
Because a lot of people are still under the impression, I'm sorry, this is going to be controversial, SNSD is never coming back.
No. Also, GOT7. Like, GOT7...
GOT7?
Like, probably not.
Who else is not
especially specifically GOT7, like, literally none of them are in the same company. They're all in individual companies. Not all of them are even in Korea anymore.
Mark is left.
Mark and Jackson.
Mark is left the country. Jackson's gone back to China.
They're so just everywhere. And I mean, sure, their friendship is still nice and everything.
I'm not saying that these people aren't friends. I still think probably SNSD are friends.
Yeah.
I still think that a lot of these groups are probably friends.
Mm-hmm.
But Are they going to get back together? Maybe in 5 to 10 years for a reunion
we'll
concert.
get something
sure.
eventually, but
fuck it.
Real, actual, like, group promotions are, like, slim to none.
Look, anything is possible for having a comeback to get back together. ABBA just released music.
True.
It's been 40 fucking years.
Yep, they did. They did do that.
So, like, anything is possible for a comeback, but if you want to wait 40 years for it...
Because, like, Boyfriend, for some reason, is now gonna still be a group.
Boyfriend's having, like, an anniversary
I don't know what's
comeback.
going on with
But
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend was sort of, like, disbanded by
Starship
forcibly, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Because they forgot that they had them, and then remembered, and then were like, fuck,
we gotta disband them.
We need to do something.
It's at least they did disband them. At least it's not like we forgot to disband the group, because a lot of groups are like that.
They did about I legitimately think JYP did with Miss A. I think they forgot.
Did FX ever officially get disbanded either?
I do not think so.
Yeah. I think it just came to a point where everyone just kind of left, and then it was
everyone is gone.
Everyone's away, yeah, different companies and everything, so...
I mean, technically, they're disbanded now.
Sure.
Alright.
But yeah, it's like...
It's not happening.
No, it's not happening.
Alright. Ready for this one?
Sure.
This one's timely. So this one, I think, is from a couple months ago. Because this is someone wanting something to happen that did end up happening. So good for them. They got their wish.
Okay.
Dawn and Hyuna should do an album together. I know each want to create their own identity, but come on. What they have in the K-pop world is rare, and they should use it to their advantage and create hot music together. We now have the results of this Unpopular
We now have a Hyuna and Dawn album.
We do.
We have that now.
Thoughts?
It's, wow.
It's something.
It's something. This is really what I realized, that the separation of Hui and Edon was a bad thing for both of them. Like, that was, I think, what ruins both of them.
They are, in a weird way, it's almost like your work wife and work husband.
Yeah, they were work husbands. They needed each other.
They were work husbands. They needed each other.
Really
they needed to keep each other in check. And also, Hyuna has done a lot of performances with men.
Yes.
Because she did Trouble... This I want to compare specifically to Troublemaker.
Yes.
Because Troublemaker is the closest and our K-pop conspiracy theory that Hyuna and Hyunsung probably dated.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably not that untrue.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But that might have happened. So if we want to compare the two of them, and the thing is, they're almost very similar concepts, just done very differently and to varying results.
This feels like
Troublemaker is one of the best subunits.
Yes.
This is not a subunit, but we can compare it to that, is not good.
It's like very also, because Troublemaker was like very sexy, and now here we are with Hyuna and Dawn in an actual relationship, and it's like one of the most unsexy things ever.
It's not sexy at all.
It is, and it's like they're both like so like weird and quirky that it's like bringing it out like in full force.
No one, like, there needs to be because the thing
no one's there to reel it in at all.
Yeah, this does sort of remind you of Triple H.
Yeah.
And I think Hui was a good force in Triple H, not just because, leave space for Jesus, because he was like the space.
Have parental supervision.
But also because Hui they both have very similar tones to their voice. They both have this very higher pitch,
very similar,
nearly nasally tone to their voices.
Yeah.
And that can be a bit irritating, depending on how it's used.
The last one...
Hui does not have that at all.
No.
So he kind of balances
the opposite of that.
Yes.
Also, for some reason, Hyuna sounds worse in the last couple of songs she's done recently. Where I think, like, Flower Shower, I think, was the last one I liked from her. But she's gone really full into the nasally thing. Where now it's, like, there's almost, like, no contrast in where she's just fully in that voice, like, entire songs now. And it's... And that combined with Dawn, who is doing essentially the same thing, is really a lot.
And, like, there's no contrast between the voices. They just sort of are... blending in together. I
don't think two people that similar should be doing probably an album together.
No, because if you look at it, Hyuna had that a bit when she was working with Hyunsung, but Hyunsung does not have that tone.
Right.
He does have like a slightly higher, but like he does have a similar-ish tone. Like he does not have like him and Hui do not have similar voices,
Right.
where he's not as grounding as Hui would be.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they complement, their voices complement each other. They're similar enough, but they're complementary.
Yeah.
Her and Dawn are too similar to the point where they are just bringing out the worst in each other.
They are, and I just look at their stage outfits every single performance they do,
They're
and
not
they
fun.
get worse every time.
They're not fun. They're not good.
It's just,
I do
like,
not enjoy
I
that.
get the type of style both of them have, where it's just, like, very quirky
Fun
and
and
like
quirky.
very weird. But it's not a thing that I like, and I don't think a lot of people are that into it because it's just it's so bizarre.
Yeah. I'm not having a good time with it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that they should just do solo music.
They probably should. They should also probably, like, maybe ask Hui for some musical advice again once he gets out of the military. Maybe he can, like, help everyone again, just, like, I don't know, ground
Hui needs
everyone
to come be
again.
the parental supervision again.
Yeah, he's gotta come be parental supervision for everybody.
Alright, that's fine. We'll work with that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, next one's fun. Not all groups need rappers. Instead
Yes.
of giving people that can't sing rap positions,
Yes.
maybe they shouldn't be in the group.
Yes.
They're not rappers, they're just people who can say words fast or in a deep voice, or fast in a deep voice.
Yes. Please.
Truth.
Please, let's not
Fact.
have, like, useless rappers, because I think most groups have a useless rapper. And every
I think
K-pop
that there's-
song doesn't need to have rap in it. How about that? Let's
No.
not put a rap verse in every K-pop song.
I think that groups are slightly getting better at that, in that they are either... Because I know a lot of that issue comes from, like, early SM never had good rappers.
Mm-hmm.
The first good SM rapper was Mark.
Yes.
Yay, Mark.
Good for Mark. He's carrying the rapping of SM Entertainment on his back.
There's a couple of people. The people of NCT are getting slightly better, but yeah, no, Mark was really the first one. And, like, you could even say Stray Kids was the first truly, like,
Yeah. For
good rappers
JYP,
in
for
JYP.
sure, yeah.
And, like, it took a while for K-pop, because I knew especially early second gen, K-pop wanted to have rap, but did not know that, like, when you're training these kids, you have to train them how to rap.
Yeah, you
like,
can't
you have
just-
to teach them how to
You
rap.
can't just throw rap at them and expect
You
them
can't
to do
just
well.
take, like, the less talented singers and make them
and
rappers.
make them in rappers.
Because that's
yeah.
what Infinite did.
Mm-hmm.
They were good. Hoya and, his name is, I'm
Dongwoo.
so sorry. Dongwoo, I'm so sorry. Hoya and Dongwoo are good singers.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, if you're gonna have a rapper in your group, having them also be a singer is, like, great. Because that means you
Weird.
don't have to have
Yeah.
full, like, rap verses in every song. And Infinite does have a handful of songs that don't have any rap.
I mean, there's a few, especially current girl groups that don't do that. I think G-Friend didn't have rap in every song.
Right.
They didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Red Velvet has that kind of where, like, they'll have a rap-ish part,
Right.
but it's not a full rap
I don't think
verse.
Lovelyz has full-on rappers.
No,
really.
I think Oh My Girl knows when to not use Mimi that way.
Right.
I think that there are certain, especially girl groups,
I think
that are, like,
From
shying
Nine
away
is,
from
like,
that.
kind of okay with not having rap verses everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boy groups constantly.
All over the place. And here's the other thing
Everywhere.
that it's like, and these are two of my favorite boys, but they're useless. Both Bowman and Golden Child and Soul of P1 Harmony.
True.
Don't
I
get
think
a
Soul's
lot.
bigger problem is that
Soul
I don't
also
know how
is
Soul's
probably not
Korean's
super
doing.
fluent in Korean, but both of them are
He's
starting.
working on it.
Both of them get thrown like the role of rapper.
Pity lines?
Because any lines that they have are now, like, weird rap, like a couple of rap lines, and I'm like, we don't need this. Like, you don't need to be rapping.
Yeah. It's an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think K-pop does need to get away from the fact that not every song needs a rap
Also,
verse.
I think maybe we shouldn't be debuting groups with, like, 4 to 5 rappers if you're not gonna
When
be
there's,
a
like, 6
hip-hop
of them?
focus group, yeah.
I mean,
SF9
you know,
doesn't need 4 rappers. Like, there's
They
9 of you,
don't.
4 of you don't need to be rappers.
they don't. I mean, I thought you were saying, like, because,
Also-
for example, MC&D has 3 out of 5 rappers.
P1 Harmony also
but that
technically
works.
is like a 4 out of 6 rappers, I think. But also
But
some
that
of
works.
them
They're-
double as vocalists, so it's not as, like, like,
and that
not as
works
terrible.
because of the concept of the group.
Yeah, they also are making more rap heavy songs, so it works for them better. But like also like
there are a group.
The nine being 7 out of 9 rappers. One of them
so
being
people don't.
One of the 2 not rappers is Esther.
Is Esther.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, the 9 is the C-pop girl group that came out of Youth for You 2.
Yeah.
Yes. So they have this
9
is
members,
when you know Produce
7
did
rappers.
Not, this is when you know Produce did not fucking medal in that show. 7 out of 9 of them are rappers and do not sing.
One of their non-rappers is their main vocal, who they also have rap a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
And then
Esther only has the position of sub-vocalist.
because she can't really do much of anything. So
she can't sing.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
So that's where that's also pretty unnecessary. So
true.
But also I think in C-pop it's different because it is very rap focused, because also like 9% was mostly rappers too. So
9% had a very similar problem. 9% I think was 5.
5 out of 9 rappers, yeah.
5 out of 9 rappers. That's so many. I mean, it's only slightly worse than SF9.
That's true. They have 4 out of 9 rappers, and that's too many.
And I will say that 9% is probably more rap focused than SF9.
Yeah, Channy like kind of doubles as like a sub vocal these days, which is weird, but
True.
I guess that's fine because we don't need to have him rapping a lot, so I'm fine with that.
True. All right. This next one is only for, I know, because we want to defend. Ace's underwater photo shoot from Butterfly Fantasy is epic. There should have been more of these photos in the photo book. The concept looks so stunning. Too bad the title was another aggressive boy group song. That aggressive boy group song was Favorite Boys. No,
that was one of the best songs of last year. I think it's my 3rd best song of 2020.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure it's gorgeous. That photo book for that album, I'm sure, is stunning. I almost bought that album because of that photo book.
Same.
But I think we also talked about this on our quarter rating last year, because it took us a while to like mentally separate all of the teaser images from what Favorite Boys was as a song.
True.
But once we did that, it's like such a banger.
Favorite Boys becomes one of it becomes maybe the best Ace song.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm. I think, but still probably is my favorite Ace song. So.
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite of the Ace songs.
It's a great song. I think people seeing the teaser photos are probably expecting something along the lines of, like, Vix's Shangri-La or something from them.
Yeah.
But it's, like, sure, I guess I can see why you'd be disappointed, because it was a little jarring for Favorite Boys to come out of the teaser images that we did get, but once you listen to the song a couple times, it's like, well, it's still a fantastic song.
Banger.
So.
True.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to defend Favorite Boys.
Yeah, Favorite Boys, a banger. We love that.
Fabulous.
Love that song.
Now we have a Blackpink one.
Oh, fun. Surprised we haven't talked about them yet.
I love Blackpink and I like Rosé, but her voice is kind of nasally. It's like she's singing through her nose and not from her diaphragm. I've heard her real voice and it's beautiful. She has such a talent and YG is making her waste it. I agree with this.
Yeah, I've heard her like just sing like random stuff, and I think she can sound a lot better than the way that she is singing in a lot of these Blackpink things, and even her solo music too.
Oh yeah, her solo music we've called, hey, maybe being Taylor Swift is harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Because that is what I think of when I hear her solo music. I'm like, yeah, Taylor Swift is doing pretty good.
It's like I think they like very quickly pigeonholed her into a vocal style. And then, like, almost went too far with that.
Oh, yeah. Because I think that it is almost now... Because have you ever heard, a lot of... This comes a lot with comedians, where, like, you start doing an impression, and then you do it so much that by the end, you're doing an impression of your original impression.
Yeah, where it's just not the same anymore.
Where it's not the same... Like, you listen to them back-to-back, and they're not the same. I feel like that's sort of what's happening with Rosé's voice, where they, like... pigeonhole her into a style and then like write that style to the point where this new style, it's like you see it, but it is almost like an exaggeration caricature of of her actual voice,
right? Because I think if you listen to her in like early Blackpink, like Boombaya and like Whistle, and even like Playing with Fire, it's different than where she is now in her solo music, and it's like it's like not super jarring, but it's definitely, you can tell, like, I think her voice is way more strained sounding than it used to sound like. And I don't think that's necessarily, like, a healthy way to be singing either.
No, and I don't want to, neither of us are vocal coach, I don't want to say anything about how she's singing, but the fact is, like, not saying that this is only her doing it. A lot of singers, especially in like their record label, will put them on a sort of facade or a twang or like some kind of vocal, something to make their vocals stand out and be different. Those like quirky, unique vocals a lot of times, and you can do them. You can sing them well and maybe not be healthy or not healthy. That's not for me to say, but it is not your natural voice. And I honestly think Rosé's natural, like, her voice from before is prettier to me.
I have a fun story.
It's maybe not as unique, but it's nicer.
I have a fun story about a related thing. So I knew a girl in high school who did that exact thing where she was a decent singer and then added, like, a weird thing to her, like, the way she sings to be, like, more unique and, like, more sort of, like, country pop friendly or whatever. And then she went to audition for American Idol, and they told her, you need to stop singing that way or you're going to ruin your voice.
Probably, because I feel like, again, I'm not sure if it's probably ruining her voice, because she's probably has, like, 1,000 vocal teachers telling her how you do this correctly. If you want to just do that yourself, I feel like you're setting yourself up to hurt your voice.
Yeah.
Like, if you do want to change your vocal style, go to a professional. They'll help you.
But even, like, with that, sometimes I feel like people, like, not, like, the vocal professionals obviously know, but sometimes I feel like that gets overridden by people who just think that you need to sing this way because that's your style now. Like, fully aware of how bad it could be for your voice.
You almost hear that with, like, have you heard, V around the, like, Danger era when they had him essentially growl his entire lines? BTS, their early BTS, V does have a deeper voice than the rest of the BTS members. Yeah. That's just facts. But they had him essentially growling his lines, and I'm like, that's not healthy.
Also sounds super weird in early BTS. Like, he sounds so weird. Like, the way they made him sing, sometimes I'm like, you don't even sound like that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I feel like they're all just better now. They're just letting them sing more naturally. This one's fun. Were we good with this one? Alright. The way K-pop stans were disappointed that Dispatch didn't reveal an idol couple at the beginning of the year just proves how little they care about idols' well-beings and careers. Instead of disappointed, you should be glad that idols aren't being dragged through the mud for being in a relationship right now. Well, will you understand that an idol's relationship status is none of your business, and if you're so desperate to see idols exposed for dating, you're no better than the people who expose them. I do really enjoy because people are always hungry for drama.
Oh, yes,
but
always.
The minute that an idol you like... Yeah. Because Dispatch had this thing for, like, years. Because it was one year, they did Kai and Jenny. Yep. They did Baekhyun and Taeyeon, right? Probably. I forget. They did a bunch of people. Yeah. But they've been doing, and they used to do it every year in January. They would have one person be exposed.
It was pretty shitty.
And this year, it's very shitty. Yeah. But I do remember being here on Discord on, like, New Year's Eve and getting the news that Kai and Jenny were dating and being like, what the fuck? Yep. That was a night, man. I remember that night. So I think everybody has this, like, you all want drama. That's the reason tabloids sell. Yeah. But then the minute it's an idol you like and the minute your idol's getting dragged through the mud. Yeah. It's, no, stop. It's not necessary. Give them their privacy.
Right.
I mean, we're all curious about it. And I do think it is shitty, and they shouldn't do it. I do think people alone.
Some of the people who are like this aren't coming necessarily from a bad place, though, because I think a lot of people want the fact that idols can have relationships and date. People want that normalized. So having it be public, I think it's gotten a lot better recently, especially in the international fan space, where people are even getting married. And people are
very excited.
Immediately just excited for them. Yeah, there's a lot less negative.
Look at the reaction to Bobby's announcement that he is going to be a father.
I didn't see any negative reactions to Bobby being a father. Yeah.
Look, I'm so excited for him. Trust us, we are full in on Bobby.
Great. I love him.
I love him. Great. I'm so proud of him. Yes. Yay.
Thriving.
We love him. But back to this, I think Dispatch kind of sucks.
Dispatch as a general concept is pretty terrible. Like,
they have some great photos.
Because Dispatch is just there for the drama, so
they are here for the drama.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like if K-pop fans try to pretend that they're too good for the drama, that's also kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not too good for the drama. You like the drama as much as anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This next one I think will be very short. Are you good with Dispatch?
Yeah, we're good with Dispatch.
The N-Hypen song sounds way too much like a TXT song. When it comes on my Spotify, I always forget what group it is. They seem talented, and I hope they're given their own sound soon. I don't think N-Hypen sounds anything like TXT.
What song are we even talking about?
I don't know, but I like to think, because the only thing I can think of is either Fever or Drunk Days, neither of which sound like TXT songs to me.
I'm trying to think of what we can even be talking about here. Because if people
the
are
only
thinking...
thing I can think of...
It's maybe Give and Taken.
Or maybe Given and Taken, which I also do not think sounds like a TXT song.
I feel like it's...
No N-Hypen song sounds like a TXT song.
I think it's possible if you give... if TXT released, like, Give and Taken right after Can't You See Me, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised by that. But I feel like... I feel like TXT has, like, such a bizarre... like musical style concept recently that it's like I don't really know what to even expect for them anymore because it's kind of been all over the place.
Here's the thing though, I can see them, you can like sort of get concepts confused, but other than maybe Given and Taken, which I can maybe see TXT doing, weirdly, I don't know what the difference between an Unhypen song and a TXT song is. I'm not a music major of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think I would ever confuse them. Just because I feel like they're not... It's weird, because I cannot put into words why I think this, but I do think that they have different styles.
I do think they can be pretty similar, just because N-Hypen isn't really that developed as a group yet. They only have too many albums, and TXT's music style is kind of all over the place.
All over the place?
That I honestly, like, if any of the N-Hypen song showed up on a TXT album, I don't think it would be that out of place. Like, I don't think they have that distinctive music style.
Other than Can't You See Me, I find that the TXT songs are either much more lively.
Yeah.
As opposed to N-Hypen, who is sort of a darker edge.
Mm-hmm.
I think N-Hypen has more of an edge to them than TXT.
Well, they're very...
nope, never mind. We have emo TXT now.
We went really emo this year. Yeah.
Weirdly, I don't...
But it's different.
It's different
emo.
I think it's emo with no edge.
It's like...
There is not a singular edge. I could get more cuts from a paper cut than the edges of a TXT song.
TXT emo
are smooth as a circle.
It's also very different than the N-Hypen emo because they're like kind of because N-Hypen's in the vampire realm, that's where they are right now.
Like, I don't know how, because I always...
And then, like, TXT is in, like, teenage angst, but in the way that, like, teenage angst is, like, coming from, like, kids who would never actually do anything illegal.
It's teenage angst for, like, Catholic school
kids.
So I greatly relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it just might be because I'm too intimately aware of the differences between different HYBE label groups that maybe I know too much about, like, the minutia.
Yeah.
Maybe the general public can get confused. I don't know. I just, they're sweet boys.
They are. I think, okay, so one thing I will say about this is that I do think their vocal styles are very similar.
Very different.
So if they're getting confused in anything, I'd say it's more so that than it is, like, musical style.
Yeah, I think that...
Because HYBE labels does have, like, a vocal style now. And especially with TXT and N-Hypen being, like, the most directly just created by HYBE labels.
They were... Yeah, and they also were debuted within, like, a year and a half.
Like, it makes sense.
A year and a half of each other, essentially. So, yeah, I can see that. Alright.
Want to do, like, one more?
Then let me find a good one. I mean, I just want to put this one in here because it's absolutely hilarious to me that someone put this on the internet. Chen could out-sing all the IZ*ONE members. What does that mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
I don't think anyone here is of the opinion that IZ*ONE can out-sing Chen. Like, I don't think that's an opinion anyone has.
I genuinely don't
understand the point of that at all.
I don't know.
I feel like they're trying to make a point, but I don't know what point is trying to be made here.
I think it's... I genuinely don't know. I read it and was like, immediately we have to talk
very
slightly. At least just say
that,
it.
like, why?
Yeah. There's another one that I just want to say very quickly. We might be able to get through 3 of these, because there's one and I have another one that we can get through very quickly, which is K-pop entertainment companies seriously need to come up with better ways to street cast idols, because stalking/chasing after them or just randomly going up to a kid and asking, hey, do you want to be a celebrity, without any background context, like what company they're from, is creepy and invasive. It's no wonder why a lot of idols who got street cast thought they were being scammed. If some talent scout came up to me at a mall or on the streets when I was a teen and just randomly asked if I wanted to be a celebrity, I would have walked away from them thinking there's some nut job and called the police, if they even pursue after me.
Yeah, they gotta stop. They gotta stop doing that. It's real weird.
My favorite is always when they do it, because if they do it in Korea, I feel like you almost have like just a culture of that.
Yeah.
I think if the weird thing is the American idols that get street casted, where they're just sitting at a mall in LA, and some person comes up with usually with a translator,
right?
And just is like, hey, would you like to audition for JYP Entertainment? And the answer is, what the fuck is JYP Entertainment?
What the fuck are you talking about?
What are we doing?
I also love that how we somehow also cast people from, like, either dance or, like, sport competitions as well.
That too.
Whereas, like, somehow we need to cast athletes. And so we just go to, like, national sport competitions.
There are a lot of athletes in K-pop.
A lot of idols were, like, on track to be Olympic athletes and then decided to become K-pop idols. Like, that is, a multiple people were on that track.
Yeah, there's so many people that could have been, like, we have Olympic fencers.
Jackson.
With Jackson. Yep. We have, Sunghoon was almost, like, an ice skater. There was someone else that was, like... so many of the boys on Island used to do so many sports.
Else,
like, there were, like, marathon runners... A bunch of them used to be ice skaters. Some of them used to be gymnasts. Like, it's
really a lot of people who used to be, like, very into sports.
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing?
It's very weird, the street casting. Yeah.
Street casting is a lot.
It's really something.
Stop making kids think they're gonna get kidnapped.
Yeah, stop trying to, like, scam children on the street, please.
All right, Kayla, I will let you pick the last one.
Okay.
Do you want survival shows?
Ooh.
Or boy groups versus girl groups, or stage presence?
Let's do interesting. Let's do stage presence. That sounds fun.
All right. That's fun. There's no excuse for not showing maximum effort at your own concert. Music show appearances, I kind of get it. Interviews, I definitely get it. But people paying a lot of money to go to concerts, we can hypothesize for days about mitigating circumstances. All I know is that there are some idols who work so hard that they have to literally be carried off of the arena by their managers after concerts, and then there's some who, let's just say, they don't. There's an extent to
I kind of get it, but also, like, we shouldn't having them be working as hard as we have to, like, carry them off the stage. Like, that shouldn't be the standard that we're comparing people
I mean, do you remember Second Gen, where they used to have people in hospital bracelets because they just came from the hospital to their concert?
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that.
That's also partially why all the members of EXO left. Like, there's a lot of people that just were... Like, I remember watching a BTS concert where they'll come off and they need oxygen tanks because they're breathing so hard. Like, that's not okay.
No, it's not. And, like, it's a lot of idols who are, like, they injure themselves will come and they'll sit on a chair and, like, still be present and be there. And I feel like I'm glad that we're normalizing that instead of people going out there and trying to injure themselves, like, doing choreography.
This also does sort of have to do... And this also sort of has to do with, like, all the... We've recently had the influx of the quote-unquote lazy scandals.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this idol, they could be doing more. They're not actually doing their job correctly, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, with a lot of that, I mean, to an extent, depending on the idol, there are some circumstances. You also have to think of the again, there are mitigating circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's going on in these people's lives.
Like, I'm not gonna, like, beat up on someone if they're just having, like, a really shitty day and, like, they happen to have a concert that day and it's just, like, a bad day for them. Like, there's really nothing you can do about that. Like, if you're having, like, a shit day, like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and some people just, like, there's better poker faces than others.
Right.
Some people wear their heart on their sleeve, and some people just cannot put up the act some days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that unless it becomes, like...
If it becomes a constant thing where it's happening every concert, then that's a problem. Like...
Or at least something where, like, hey, maybe if this is happening every concert, take a step back.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing this every concert, either someone needs to talk to you... Because it's like any other job. It's like, maybe you need to take a break for a little bit.
Right.
Not that...
And, like, a lot of idols have been taking, like, breaks for things like anxiety and stuff now because, like, they will start having panic attacks when they go out on stage to perform. And maybe that is, like, some of the stuff that people are seeing and that they attribute to being lazy. Is, like, someone is actively having a panic attack out there when they're performing. So...
And, like, depending on the company, they might not be allowed to stop.
Yeah.
So overall, I do think that, like, there is an extent where, like, there are certain circumstances where that might be the case of them. They actually are just, they don't care.
Yeah.
Because I also think it's very easy to get jaded in this industry and to just, like any job, you can put in minimal effort.
Right.
You can just start doing that. But I also don't think we need to praise unhealthy habits where they're being carried away from an arena by their managers because
that's not good. Like, we also don't want to be there. Like,
you don't want to, yeah. Because at that point, like, you'll have people that are like, hey, he broke his wrist during the concert, but he finished it. And I'm like, no, you should have left and gotten that checked out.
Like, I'm not happy that you sat here and finished the concert for your fans. I'd rather you go to the hospital, like, right now. Like, it's fine.
I'd rather you get yourself checked out. Like, please. Don't hurt yourself. Or at least, like, told somebody before the end of the concert.
Right.
Something like that. But
because if you're out there and you get injured and you don't tell anyone and you go out there and you finish the concert, like, that's just gonna be worse overall. Injured. Yeah, for you and everybody else.
You're gonna just get more injured, which is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're just gonna end on the lively note of, don't injure yourselves, and everybody just do your best.
Please don't work yourself to exhaustion and injury just for, like, the fans. Like, you don't need to do that.
Yep.
So, yay. K-pop unpopular opinions.
Yay.
Some of them more popular than others, probably.
Some of them we agreed greatly with.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are correct. Some of them are just confusing.
A few of them are very confusing.
Yes. So that has been K-pop unpopular opinions. This may be a recurring series if we can find enough of them, which I'm sure we will because you can literally find them anywhere. So,
hey, if someone wants to comment their best K-pop unpopular opinion,
we'll put it in the next
feel
one
free
when we get around to it, which will probably happen eventually. Because this was fun. I like doing this episode.
I enjoyed this a lot. Yeah.
So, if you're listening to us on YouTube, we are also available on all major podcasting platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of the places like that. And if you're listening to us there, leave a review while you're there. And we also have a YouTube channel where we post all of our episodes along with visual elements if they have any, as well as fun clip videos that we make all the time. And we also have a Twitter and an Instagram account that are linked in the description of every episode. And we will be starting theme months essentially until the end of the year now after this episode.
Yay!
So, hooray. We will be having Produce Month around 2 next month, which will cover all 3 of the Produce seasons that aired this year. So
that is probably in the order of Produce Japan season 2, then Chwang 2021, and then Youth with Youth 3.
Yes, and the end of October will be a lead-in to Asian Drama November. Where Asian Drama November this year is we have watched shows that have been remade in more than one country. So, and we'll be going over that and all sorts of fun things. And then we get into our year-end stuff once December hits. So that's going to be award nominations and 2020 boy groups parts, 2021 boy groups part 2, and best and worst of the year and all of that fun stuff. So
all of our fun stuff. So if you want to listen to us talk about K-pop again,
wait till December. Yeah, that's, well, I guess if you like survival shows, like, that's a little bit K-pop, but also none of them are Korean shows.
None of them are Korean,
so
Kayla.
Yeah,
none of them.
So if you're like survival show adjacent things that are whatever, there you go. But yeah, we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.